birds flying high. You know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Crusin Classics Next Gen Series here in the Goat Locker Racing League. I'm Eddie Smith, your host for tonight, as here on VSRN, we're going to be showing some awesome action here at Talladega Superspeedway. I mean, do I have to really say much about it? It's a legendary track. It's the biggest oval in the United States and maybe the world. I don't know. There may be couple pretty, a little bit bigger, but man, I'll tell you what, this is a legendary track, and if you are a racing fan, you know all about it, and we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. 70 laps around this place, and some high-speed action, 3 wide, and maybe even see somebody lock themselves in the playoffs that maybe a little bit behind on points. A good wild card round for some of these folks. As we take a look at the schedule here, I mean, you can already see we're getting down towards the end of it. It's not going to be much longer. I mean, we're right here at Talladega. We got Richmond, Las Vegas, and New Hampshire. The playoffs start. So, I mean, if you're not in where you want to be now, this is a great opportunity to get you there. Let's take a look at the point standings before we get this thing gridded up. And you see Brandon Evans atop the standings with those 2 wins, but Steve Tucker, Cody McElwain, Jamie Barkas a couple weeks ago's winner at Darlington there in 4th position with that 1 win. Then you got Jake Ellingson, John Ross, Jake Ham, Patrick Dravick, Robert Hartley. And then you get down towards the cut line. You see James Goshen tied with Bobby Germain at that 12th position with Tyler Greneau right behind him. So we'll see if any of those guys, as attendance starts to fade, and see where everything kind of starts to settle in towards the end of these playoffs. But it is going to be an exciting run to the playoffs. I'm excited, and I'm still excited. I'm going to say excited 2 more times for sure. All right, just a few seconds before we get into the grid, we'll take a look at your track information. If you don't know, Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama. It opened in 1969, has a capacity of 175,000 people, and of course the 2.66 mile D-shaped oval, and it's just a world class place for some speed. You've never been there, if you've never been to a NASCAR race, I think Talladega is probably a good first bet. We're getting this thing rolling here. Everybody going to start to grid up pretty soon, and we will go through the grid here as everybody's starting to grid up now. So let's go ahead and jump straight into the grid and see where everybody's going to start here tonight. Starting on the front row, it's going to be Brandon Evans and Brian Provo. Somebody new. I like to see it. In that second position. In third, Tanner Bethea and Robert Hartley in that fourth position. Starting in fifth, Patrick Drabick, Steve Tucker in sixth. Seventh is going to be Jacob Ellingson, George Jewell in the eighth position. Starting in ninth is going to be John Ross. Jake Ham going to start outside of him, rounding out the top 10. 11th going to be James Goshen, and glad to see this guy back, Ryan Pendleton, in that 12th position. In 13th is John Anthony, and then Cameron Mason going to be in the 14th position. 15th, Leroy Gablentz with Doug Ellingson in the 16th spot. In 17th is Ryan Perkins, and rounding out the field is going to be Bobby Germain in the number 42 Chevrolet Camaro. Well, all right. Well, if you know anything about this track and drafting tracks in general, it is all about teamwork. So the best team is going to win tonight. You want to try to find that team. I mean, Goat Locker Racing obviously going to be a favorite to win this thing. I don't see Barkus here tonight. So last week's winner, which we'll take a look at right here at Darlington, locks himself into the playoffs. So he just takes a couple weeks off as he's not here tonight, as far as I could tell. I don't see him joining late or anything. But he was able to get the win at Darlington, and you could tell he was super stoked about that win. Steve Tucker comes home with another second-place finish. I think he's got the most second-place finishes out of anybody. And Cody McElwain comes home in third. And, if you look through the list right there, Steve Tucker's only one of the top three that's even here tonight. So gonna be interested to see how the points kind of get swapped around. Gonna go green here pretty soon, and we got one little pace lap here, and then we'll get the action underway. Your race analysis, your fixed setup, 70 laps, 2 green white checkers if we need them, and 1 fast repair. But if I know anything about this league so far, it has been green flag racing is the tail of the tape. These guys have just done a fantastic job racing so far this season. It's been a lot of fun. And I think this race is going to be something similar. 70 laps is a lot at Talladega, but it does click off pretty quick, especially if guys just ride around, which we'll see. There'll be a mixture of folks doing that. There'll be some guys that ride in the back and just try to be patient and try to stay out of the wreck. You got some guys that want to get up front, position themselves near those front couple rows. That way they'll be in striking distance of the win. And it's all a matter of preference, and a lot of luck goes into the finishes for this thing. But teamwork going to be super important. If you can work well with a team, I've seen a team dominate at plate tracks, and if you get your group together, you can definitely get that done. I want to thank our sponsors, of course, Veterans for Life Foundation. Just some really awesome sponsors, real meaningful sponsors here in Goat Locker. Got Jam Printing and Promotions. And, of course, your title sponsor, Crusin Classics. I want to thank them for their support. And we want to support them as, they really have made a difference here in Goat Locker and in other people's lives. So definitely go out and support them. Go check them out online. Could be some great sponsors. But getting ready to go green here. Brandon Evans going to lead us down to the green flag. The pace car going to pull off, going to go all the way around the tri-oval and get this race underway. Barney's got the green flag in his hand, getting ready to start us here at Goat Locker. Crowds on their feet, and green flag is out here in the Crusin Classics Next Gen Series. right, one lap in the books, and right now Brian Provo, is out front. You can see that top line already moving. The next gen's a very interesting car. It's very tough, I think, at the plate races. It's puts on a great show, though. It just doesn't get the runs, I don't think, that like the truck does. So you really have to make sure that you plan everything just right. But you can see the top line being, sort of the one that's kind of stuck its neck out there. It's going to break apart a little bit and fall back, but that bottom line with Robert Hartley, I think, is starting to move forward. Oh, excuse me, the 39 of Brandon Evans there down on the bottom. My bad. But you see sort of a calming kind of wash over the track immediately. I mean, these guys are running side by side, but you don't see, big pushes just yet. You see guys giving plenty of room. And so far, that's what can be expected here early. Going to be lifting a lot. There's just a lot of patience that needs to go into these races. You don't have anywhere to go. You can't go off and run off with this thing. You're going to be in a pack no matter what. And so you can expect to see these guys just taking their time. Patrick Dravick right here, just holding steady, down on the bottom. Position themselves. Now, with this, the fact that I think that there'll be some green flag pit stops, right now you're really just trying to talk to your teammates. When are we going to pit? What's the strategy here? What do we need to be working with? That's what you're doing at these races. You're talking to your teammates. There's really not much to do other than just sit here and ride. And if you can make up a couple spots, that's what you try to do. But you don't be too aggressive here early. And try to get cause a wreck early in this race. So you're just sitting there talking to your teammates, talking to people around you, finding groups to work with. Say, hey, when are you going? When do you want to pit? Do you want to come in early? Do you want to wait a little bit longer? Try to catch a caution. There's a lot of conversations that get had, and that's what's going on right now. Teammates working together, trying to figure out when they're going to pull the trigger and come down pit road. Everybody pretty much a part of this main pack. The only person that is not is Doug Ellingson, who is back here. He's about 5.3 seconds back. I don't know if he wanted to miss the, lose the draft. Sometimes people get nervous and they drop back and just want to be out of the wreck, make sure they can miss it. But he is going to lose the draft. He's already lost it, and he is going to be in danger of going a lap down soon if he doesn't get that caution. So, don't know if that's on purpose or maybe just kind of got left out to dry. Not sure. Brandon Evans goes up to the top line, and he's going to try to lead that line. Feels like the top is where a lot of the momentum is at, so he jumps up there to lead. I don't know what teammates he has. Normally in these situations, you'll see guys drop down to the bottom, but you look here, we got a big line up at the top of these drivers. Normally they'll drop down to the bottom, try to lead that bottom line, but so far they're staying in that second lane. Brian Provo all over the back bumper of Brandon Evans, really pushing, just trying to get him out as far as possible and really lead that train. And if you've ever watched a Superspeedway race with me, you know what I feel about that second car in line. That is the most important driver in the whole race, the second car in each line. So right now the one of Tanner Bethea is the biggest, the most important person of that bottom line to get it going. You want everybody to be tucked up behind, but that second car really has to be smart about how he manages his pushes. Don't overheat that car. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that, but those are the most important. That's how you're going to get a line and move it forward, is with those second. You see right there, the one gives a big push to the 46. So Robert Hartley going to jump out front. You see Brandon Evans trying to do a little bit of side drafting as they come off a turn forward. Somebody's up there all by themselves moving. I don't know if that's John Ross in that Skull car, that 99 up there. And he decided, I'm tired of y'all lifting. I'm going to just drive up here by myself. See him up there in that third lane. He can keep it wide open while these guys in these other lanes are having the lift. So he's trying to get a little bit of draft. And I will tell you, the draft of outside these cars actually comes out in a cone. So the way iRacing sees it is it comes out in a cone. Now it is, once you get out towards the edge of the cone, out of the back of the car, it's a little bit less on the very edges than right in the middle. But he's able to get that draft when he stays close right there. And you see he's trying to stay low and pinch down on that middle line. He's able to get the draft off of Steve Tucker here, which is propelling him forward by himself. So really smart maneuver, and it's important that you understand how the draft works and in these cars and be able to manipulate that to your advantage. He's doing a great job of that. It's going to have some help coming. Looks like the 86 up there at the top. I don't know who that is. I don't have an 86 on my... I don't have an 86 on my list, but it looks like Cameron Mason, who just doesn't have the right paint scheme on tonight. He's the number 13, but the car is showing the 86. So if you do see that 86, you'll see Mason there, and you'll know who that is. You see these drivers move up to the top side to block that run, and the movement that John Ross has, and man, look at him. He goes right down to the middle, and he is up side by side with the bottom line. Oh, they're going to make a little contact there. Ooh, made me nervous. About swallowed my tongue there. As Steve Tucker goes down to the inside, gives up on that top line. Man, look at that car. Woo. My man knows I like orange, I guess, because that is a fantastic scheme. And he talks about it every week, and he has really good ones. But this week, man, what a fantastic piece right there. I'd be so excited. 3 wide for the lead, though, as Brian Provo is going to go around Brandon Evans. Evans going to back up to John Ross, make a little contact, but Steve Tucker going to take the lead by just a car length on that bottom line. Is sort of the top and middle. Can't figure out what they want to do. A lot of movement where the bottom line has sort of settled. Steve was in that middle line, went up to the top and decided he didn't want to be there and dropped down to lead that bottom line. He's going to lead that lap. So Steve Tucker out front here. You're going to see the momentum from the middle and the top start to build up. Oh, somebody's in the wall. Cameron Mason in that 86 or 13 machine in the wall. He's going to fall back. But we stay green as, man, we got 3 wide here early on lap 11 of 70. But this is a great time. You know, you think, well, why don't we just ride in line? You see that in real racing. Well, just ride in line. And, I mean, there's no point. You can't win the race now. So just ride in a single file line. But if you want to know what your car can do, you want to know what kind of moves you're able to make. Man, we got 4 wide, it looked like, for a second there. Oh, my goodness. I don't know if we can do this. Patrick Drabbit gets up in the wall. He's still in the wall. He's going to fall back a little bit as we were 4 wide. Going down into turn 1 there. That is scary. You don't want to see that. Man, got my heart all beating real fast. Got all this adrenaline going. I'm just sitting here in this chair. So, Brandon Evans falling towards the back of the field. So, it seems like a lot of movement. Guys trying to set themselves up for maybe pit stops. We'll see exactly what they decide to do. But scary moments there. Man, we had 4 wide. Patrick Drabbit gets into the wall. He falls all the way back to the end of the pack. You see just how much movement's going on right here. I don't know what's going on, but these guys all over the place as a car is blinking out. Looks like, can't see who that is. The 1 of Tanner Bethea is blinking out here. Oh, and wrecking. Oh, big wreck. Jake Helm involved. The 86 involved. Ryan Pendleton, Jacob Ellingson also involved here on lap 13. We got our first big one. And you could almost just feel it happening. As you see, here comes Jacob Ellingson. That car having some big issues. You can see, oh man, that thing is not driving right. And I have no idea what happened, but we have our first caution here. And you could just feel it. I don't know what it is. I don't know why everything kind of got out of whack there, but looked like it kind of started here. With Jacob Ellingson. We'll take a look at the replay. He's got the 08 behind him of Brian Provo has been a pretty good pusher. Getting ready to go down to the trial. You see this, that left, right. And he gets that big push here. He's going to go to the outside of Jake Ham, and Jake just kind of goes up the track, and Ellingson really just kind of puts his nose in there, and that's where that all kind of started. I think, oh man, and that's a big hit when Ryan came back around. I mean, it's a tough call here. I understand Jake wanted to take that spot, but right here, I mean, Jake Ham does clear him, and then Ellingson kind of just sticks his nose in there. I think the 3 could have gave him a little bit more room, but yeah, I don't know. A little bit too early for that, maybe. But, I mean, Ellingson had such a big run and maybe felt like he got blocked. But, I mean, Ham was definitely over that dotted line, so I think Ellingson really kind of pushed the issue there more than maybe what was needed. And you can see right there just the residual effects of that as multiple drivers with issues. So, already trouble. You see Jacob Ellingson coming down pit road. They do have one fast repair, so he'll be able to come down and get that car fixed. Should get a new one right here. And boom, there he is. Brand new car for that 27 machine. So early fast repair usage. That is that's not what you want to see. Ryan Pendleton had to, I think he might have had to tow, or he's just sitting. Yeah, I think he had to tow. So tough for that 23 machine. But everybody else coming down pit road, getting fuel. You got Brandon Evans and others. As the race off of pit road. Not as important as other tracks. But we see a lot of just fuel only. And you see some 4 tires and fuel. It really doesn't matter what you do. You only have 2 sets in the pits, so 3 total. But here at Talladega, tires just don't matter. They just haven't mattered in a long time. So I think fuel is what folks are really thinking about here. So it worked out great for Doug Ellingson, who's sitting in second place. You saw he kind of lost the draft there early, and he was able to get this number 58 machine now running in second. So we watched him be way about 5 or 6 seconds back early in the race, and this caution going to get him caught back up, and he's going to be up front for the start of this thing. But yeah, going back talking about that, Rick, it's just I think it's just a little bit too early to be really putting. I mean, that's a last lap move in my mind. It just kind of seemed like Jake Ellingson had the run, wanted to use it on the outside, and Jake Ham was just trying to cover that top side. It may be too early for both. Maybe too early to try to block, and maybe too early to try to squeeze it in there. So. But that's why we have fast repair. You can go down, get that thing, and get back out there, and now you kind of have to take it a little bit easier. It's kind of the, you have a fast repair, you kind of drive a little bit differently. You've got that brand new car in the bag, so you don't really have to worry too much about it. In the case of maybe Ryan Pendleton, who had to tow, maybe that's something to worry about. You don't want to get caught like that because he's going to sit there and take the tow, and it's going to take forever. He's already 3 laps down. But now that you don't have that fast repair, if Jacob Ellingson, if Jake Ham, they get into an incident there for the rest of this race, they're pretty much done. So just kind of odd to see that happen, but I think it was just a couple drivers just coming together. But I'm interested to see if that will kind of change, if everybody kind of calms down. You start to see this in real NASCAR at these tracks where they'll get maybe the first 20 or 30 laps, they'll get up there and be racy, and then they'll just kind of settle in, run single file. And we've seen that a lot in iRacing too. So we'll see if this first wreck kind of chills everybody out and we might not see too much movement. But right there towards the end, before all that happened, the pack was really spread out and kind of broke apart. So I'm not really sure what happened to cause that. But it just seemed like there was a lot of guys going from the front to the back, maybe trying to save some fuel. Who knows? Getting ready to go green here. Steve Tucker with the lead. Doug Ellingson going to be outside of the front row. Brandon Evans in third. Leroy Koblenz in the fourth position. John Anthony rounds out your top five. As they roll through the tri-oval, Barney with the green flag in his hand, ready to go back racing. Green flag is back out as Doug Ellingson does not get a great jump there. He's on the third row already and falling back quickly. As Brandon Evans going to jump up there and take the lead car of that second row, as Doug Ellingson is now getting that thing back rolling. Big push coming here. On board, Brandon Evans as we watch out the back. Doug kind of backs off a little bit. Smart. I like that. No need to go up there and just shove. We're not racing for anything at the moment. We see that bottom line really getting a good run as that top line continues to fall back. And Brandon Evans can kind of feel it, jumps right down into that bottom lane. Still a long way to go. Fuel strategy is what I'm interested to find out. You know, what these guys can do on fuel. Now, if you're out front like Steve Tucker, you can't save any gas. And you have to kind of go full throttle the whole time. But these guys back here, they can kind of sit and ride and roll off the throttle. As, the one goes up, Tanner Bethea. And Brandon Evans going to go underneath him. I think Tanner was maybe trying to stop that top line run. But that top side is really kind of falling apart, excuse me. As, man, what is going on? Doug Ellingson in the grass. I think, Cameron Mason as well, having some sort of issues, but here Doug is slow on the track. Not sure what happened, but caution is out. Oh, interesting. Let's take a look at this replay. Looks like a car blinked out, and we can't really see who that is. Looks like the 36 of George Jewell there. You see him or on board with Doug Ellingson here. There, Robert Hartley. The car's going to disappear, and watch. Jewell's going to come back on the track, and after he blinks out, the 46 doesn't know where he's at. And then he comes back, and they make a little contact. Doug Ellingson makes contact with the 46 and just kind of loses it and makes contact with Cameron Mason and goes for a ride. Look at that one more time as Doug was just going down to the bottom, trying to get to the bottom line, and then this happens right in front of him. Look at that. They were inside of each other. And Doug just going to go for a ride here. Hard hit to that inside wall. Well, Patrick Drabick up to the second position. Bobby Germain in third. He is a big mover. That 42 car as guys have gone down pit road. So pit road is pretty busy right now. Quite a few drivers. George Jewell, Leroy Koblenz, those drivers involved in that wreck. John Ross, Doug Ellingson coming down pit road. So probably going to see a couple faster pairs, but maybe just some fuel. Got to get that fuel strategy just right. They can run a little bit longer. But already, lap 20 of 70, so just 50 laps to go in this race. And, I think we can let's talk to somebody. Let's see if we got anybody to talk to. We don't really have a whole lot of people to grab. They don't sit around in Discord, so I don't have anybody to grab and talk to. So I would, but I don't see nobody. Tell you what, let's see. We'll talk to Brian. Talk to Brian Provo here. Brian, this is Eddie in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
We say Brian or Ryan?
Brian.
Yeah, what's up?
Man, not too much. Man, kind of for 18 drivers, it's been kind of a weird race. A lot of moving around, but you've been up front. You've been really pushing those lines and getting yourself out up front. Been kind of going back and forth. What's the feel out there in the pack? There was a point there where the whole pack kind of got broke up. Tell me what's going on out there.
Yeah, it's tough racing right now. It's definitely getting racy. Guys are starting to trying to fill out those spots, just trying to make their car fit and spot the spots they know they can fit. So it's getting tight for sure.
Well, tell me about the fuel run. I know you don't want to give away any secrets, but how many laps can y'all go on fuel if you go green the whole way?
Oh, man. Right now it doesn't look like we can make it. It looks like we still got to stop. And so right now probably around 30, 35.
Okay. Well, what's your strategy coming into this race tonight? I mean, you've been up front really working, trying to figure out how to make pushes, get pushed, and position yourself. What's your plan going forward? You still got about 50 laps to go. What's your plan moving forward?
Right now, just kind of stay towards that front pack, towards the tail end. Maybe if you could get up front and kind of hold that lead for a little bit, but just kind of stay with this front pack and just be patient until those last few laps and start making some moves.
All right. Well, man, good luck, and thanks for talking to us.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks.
There you have it, Brian Provo, which somebody that I don't know, and that doesn't mean that he's not somebody that everybody else knows. I just may have never met him, so good to talk to somebody new. And he seems like there's a lot of movement going on. Guys really being maybe a little more aggressive than he's ready for, but he sounds like he's got a good plan here moving to the end of this race. But one to go here, going to go back green. I got to say, man, it's just plate racing is such a weird, it's a different animal. You can't pull away. You're stuck in that draft. But, like I said, you wonder why are people being aggressive. You have to see what the car can do. You got to practice. You don't get to run Talladega every week in these next-gen cars, especially here in the next-gen. You only get it one time a season. So you have to try it out. You have to push somebody to the lead. You have to get pushed. You have to try the top side, see what it does. Try the middle, see what it does. Try the bottom. So there is a little bit of that where you have to move around. You have to be aggressive and try to feel your car out, because when it comes down to the end of the race, you're not going to have a whole lot of time to think about these moves. You're going to have to know exactly what move to make when the time comes to try to take the win. So, these laps are exactly for that. Figuring out what the car can do and making good use of it. All right, coming to the green flag, Steve Tucker, Patrick Drabick, your front row into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out, and Steve Tucker gets a big jump. No help out back. But a big push from that top line. Brendan Evans pushing Patrick Drabick out to the front. You see Steve Tucker just not able to get a push from that 42 machine. And so those two drivers go all the way up to the top. They can decide if they want to go down to the bottom or try to keep this top line. So far, looks like the top line's where they're going to stay. Oh, Doug Ellingson's going to get to the wall back there, I think. I don't know who that was, honestly. Might be going around Doug, maybe. But you just kind of feel there's like a weird aura of nervousness in the field, and I'm not really sure what it is. But I feel it up here in the booth, so I know they got to be feeling it. But it's 3 wide back here in the back, so... But Patrick Drabick leading the way here at Talladega on lap 22. You're going to take that JM Printing and Promotions 07 Chevrolet out front. Got a big push here. Brandon Evans all over the back bumper. Right now, the top side is the dominant line. Is you can see down at the bottom, just not really getting that thing rolling. Looks like the 42 of Bobby Germain and others trying to get that thing going. As the 85 now of James Goshen is leading the charge on the bottom, and people are bailing on that top line or the bottom line, excuse me. But we got a pass up here. Somebody's going to the outside. I think that's Leroy Kablentz. In that 43, going to go up to the outside. It's going to have some help. Looks like John Ross. So that bottom line is looks like kryptonite for a lot of these guys. They don't want anything to do with it. Got some movement. You just see those cars moving around. Some decisions they're trying to make. As you see the double alt of John Anthony almost goes up. They're going to make contact. Wreck. Caution maybe come out as John Ross and Mason into the wall. And no caution as John Ross has big damage. See parts flying off of both of those cars. Sparks coming out of that machine, both of them, as they're trying to get back rolling, but they're going to have to come down. John Ross has already used his fast repair along with Cameron, and I think that's going to be it for their races. They're down on the apron, but no caution. We stay green. As we got 3 wide back here racing, as we'll try to go back and see exactly what happened there. We'll take a look on board with John Ross here on the picture-in-picture. You can see there where the contact was made. They're going around the outside, and John Ross actually gets loose in the tri-oval. Interesting. And comes down and hits Cameron. Gonna see him get loose here. Watch the back end of that 99 as he goes up and comes right down, and they make hard contact into that outside wall. But 3 wide here is James Goshen with a big push from Robert Hartley. And then the 43 of Leroy Kablitz sees him coming, and he's like, all right, I'm ready to jump on this train. And they're going right to the front. Big run is Brandon Evans trying to push the 07. They just don't have the momentum. Nobody behind them. And that bottom line is going to go out front here as the top line comes apart. Steve Tucker, you can see him towards the back there. He's like, I'm out of here. As these guys racing too hard for his liking. Man, oh man, you could see that 85 actually come up a little bit, almost like he was going to go to the middle, but now all over the back bumper of the 43. Trying to keep him out front, but Brandon Evans pushing that 07 back out front here. We'll see if they stay in that top line. The top line's sort of breaking up after the 4th car. The bottom line's a little bit more organized at this point. We'll see if that changes. It looks like now we have 5 drivers up in there, so and I said Steve Tucker was trying to get out of the mess, but look at him right here. Jumps right into the mix as he goes all the way to the back. And now it jumps back down into the bottom line. See Brandon Evans doing a great job. He's actually lifting just a little bit, not trying to get right on the bumper. I mean, you have to use that sparingly. You want to get to that bumper when the run is coming from the bottom. There's no need to do it before that. And that's where that second driver is so important for these lines, is when you see that run coming and you want to make sure that they don't get up there. Look at him. He gets right to the back bumper in the tri-oval, gets some push, and that pushes that line right back out front. I mean, it's expert driving by him. That's exactly what you want to do if you want to keep the lead and keep your car up front. you don't want to push. You'll start to overheat a little bit. So there's no need to continue pushing the whole time. You could in these next gen, but there's no need. No need to put yourself in that position. But all he's got to do is wait for the push. Oh, it's Goshen, and the 43 almost make contact there on the bottom line. It's going to break up that line even more as they almost disaster here. But, yeah, anyway, so you see Goshen is pushing. And once he gets up there, you'll see Brandon Evans get right to Patrick's back bumper to stall that run out. And when he stalls that run, they're able to maintain that lead. So that's why that second car is just so important to the how the lines move. And so far, that top line is definitely well organized with Brandon Evans there in that second spot. You see a lot of weaving. That's a dangerous thing. And we, hey, we're racing online, so it's going to happen. We're racing on. We already saw an accident happen based on just the fact that somebody blinked out. And so, I mean, it's going to happen. Internet stuff, is going to happen. And then you also just have guys that, you're trying to follow a fella, and he moves a little bit, and you try to keep up with him. You kind of get in this little back and forth that you can't get out of, and you get on the left rear or the right rear bumper on the left side or the right, and you can hook that guy real easily, especially in the corner. So you want to hit pretty square if you're going to bump somebody. But right now you can see that bottom line has just fallen apart. As these four drivers up here, Patrick Drabbit, Brandon Evans, John Anthony, and Brian Provo, got a nice run, but here we go. We've got Bobby Germain leading a group, and Steve Tucker kind of bails on that group. He's going to jump down to the bottom and try to go forward by himself. And Steve jumps back up into the top side as he is really being aggressive. And here comes the 43. Leroy, as he had, oh my goodness, contact by here between Doug Ellingson. Doug Ellingson again as Jake Ham has some contact. And they throw the caution as Tanner Bethea in that one car makes big contact with Doug Ellingson as they were going almost into the tri-oval. Nobody spun out, though, so everybody kept it going. It looks like, I don't know if that was a automatic caution or a race control caution, but almost a big wreck there as they made a little contact. Take a look at the replay here under our third caution of the night. See the 58 kind of by himself with the one. He's going to kind of go up the track. I don't think the one appreciated it. I'm not really sure if the one was trying to make contact back, but you can see here Doug just kind of goes up the track a little bit, and the one was kind of coming down trying to side draft, and so they kept doing it back and forth. The one gets in the wall again. They couldn't stay off each other. And the one going to go down and hit the wall pretty dang hard. But look at this again. They just making contact, and they couldn't get off each other. They like they're magnets. And right here, this is the final blow that does Bethea in. He's going to go right down to the inside wall. Actually misses the wall. That was a great job by him. So could have been a whole lot worse. Go on board with Jake Ham. Watch his point of view of that if we can. See him bumping up there, then that's Ellingson. Whoever the cameraman, he's terrible. You see Jake Ham just nowhere to go. I mean, he's just trying to get forward. I don't know what to say about that, Rick. Those two guys just kept banging off each other. Anyway, they come down pit road, and Doug Ellingson could come out with the lead. So, and breaking hearts too, because Ryan Pendleton there would love to get back on the lead lap. He's going to stay out and try to get the wave around. Doug Ellingson stays out and is going to lock Ryan Pendleton from being able to get the wave around and go back around and get at least one of his 2 laps back. I'm interested to know if Doug comes down the next time by. That would really mess up Ryan, but Doug going to stay out there after that contact was the reason for the caution, but going to come out with the lead. Can't beat that. But I think you're going to need fuel for sure to make it to the end of this thing. I don't know exactly how many laps they can go on fuel, but I would imagine you want a little bit of fuel, especially if the whole pack comes down and gets fuel. You don't want to be the guy that doesn't because, well, if we got to make a green flag pit stop, you'll come down by yourself, and that's always a pretty much a race ender. All right, well, let's tell you what. Let's bring up Tanner Bethea, and let's see what his thoughts were on that wreck. Let's bring him up into the booth. Tanner, this is Eddie in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Well, you've been having a pretty good race. You've been in the mix, and then they're right there on that caution. Just makes a little bit of contact with Doug Ellingson. What happened there?
I don't know. I thought I gave him room, but I guess I looked at the replay, and we both kind of came. He came up, I came down. I mean, there's not really. I can't blame him. I mean, it was kind of both of our fault, but I mean, I guess that's just rough racing.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a bummer as we're just at halfway now. But you had the fast repair, and it looks like you've been able to get that car fixed. You're back out on the track, still on lead lap, and you're still in this thing. What's your plan moving forward? Now you don't have the fast repair. What's your plan as we get down toward the second half of this race?
Well, I'm going to try to run in the back a little bit, but just stay in the draft. I don't want to get too far behind, and maybe the last 15, 20 laps, maybe I can get something moving and try to work my way to the front.
All right. Well, there you have it. That is Tanner Bethea, as he was involved in that wreck, but going to come out with a fresh car and be able to move himself forward. As definitely appreciate him talking to him. And I know the cameras aren't great today. I'm trying out a new camera setup, and so some of these are relatively new to me. So if we click to a camera that don't make sense, you'll know why. I'm not asking for sympathy, but just telling you what's going on. Getting ready to go green here, and Doug Ellingson was on the outside of that restart, a couple of restarts to go, and wasn't able to get going. This time he's going to have control of the restart, so we'll see how this plays out for him. He's got a little bit of damage to that car. Already used his fast repair. We'll see how much damage from that wreck he has. You know, that's a big question. If you're Brian Provo, you got to be thinking, man, if this 58 doesn't go, where do I need to move? It could be pretty tough. But, that was a lot of contact between him and the one, and Doug just stays out. So we'll see here on this restart what happens. Coming through the trial, will take halfway and the green flag. Doug Ellingson, your leader here tonight. And green flag is out. You see he's not able to get a great start. Looks like they're kind of getting set up to go around him in the middle, and that's exactly what they're doing. So Doug going to get taken 3 wide almost immediately. You can see he's got a little bit of damage to that car, and I think people are aware of that. And you see he's just not able to get up to speed. Obviously no help either. Doesn't make that easy. So he's going to fall back a little bit. But Brandon Evans going to take over the top spot with Bobby Germain and Patrick Dravick right behind him. 36 of George Jewell is going to jump down to that bottom line and try to lead. Had a big run there. Decided he wanted to position himself up at the front of that second line. Jay Cam now going to jump down to the bottom, try to lead that bottom line. The bottom is just not been fast tonight. It's been impressive, and I think it does matter what cars are in there and how much they're willing to push and be pushed and all that kind of stuff. And obviously numbers matter, but the bottom just hasn't had the same speed that the top side has had tonight. So we'll see as the numbers keep getting added. Steve Tucker now jumps down to the bottom. As those numbers keep added, there will just be a breaking point where it's just going to be faster, just sheer numbers wise. And the top side always seems to, the top and middle always seem to have somebody going 3 wide, because that bottom line glued right to that yellow paint. As J Cam kind of comes out of the line there, trying to push that 24. Somebody throwing sparks up there. I love it. Oh, it's the one of Tanner, but they blinked out for a minute. So another connection issue got to make you nervous. On board with J Cam trying to make. Oh, they make contact. There it is. Tanner Bethea again. Looks like the 43 of Leroy Kablitz. We stay green. I think that's a great call, but the one, Tanner, who we just talked to, having issues. We stay green, though. Go back and look at this on the picture-in-picture. You can see there's 3 wide situation here. You thought these guys would calm down, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Oh, it's trying to get you the actual replay here. See right here on the picture, big run for the 43, and Tanner actually goes down to try to block, and the 43 said, and sends him around. So no caution. That's pretty much going to do those guys in. Not much you can do about that at that point. So, yeah, I mean, just that aggression level, he talked about it in his interview, saying that, he's going to calm down a little bit and take it easy. But then throwing a block there on the 43, some guys are just not going to lift. That's just not their MO. And, when you throw a block like that, you're kind of inviting that type of accident. So, unfortunately for Tanner, he is now going to go a lap down. He's on pit lane now. So, we're down to next to nothing on this front pack. First through 8th is Brandon Evans, Bobby Germain, Patrick Dravick, John Anthony, Brian Provo, George Jewell, Ryan Perkins, and James Goshen in that front pack. And then you got J Cam back here just a little bit. Oh, my goodness. And almost wrecked with just 3 cars is Robert Hartley, who's right behind him, was trying to shove him down the back straightaway. You saw that 3-car get out of shape. They are 2.7 seconds back from the lead, about a little over 2 seconds back from George Jewell. And they are going to have to work together. Jacob Ellingson, part of this group as well. Then you have to go all the way back to this third group where Steve Tucker and Doug Ellingson are with Ryan Pendleton, who's still those 2 laps down. So Steve Tucker, who is second in points after that little incident and kind of a riffraff, is now going to need a caution to get back in this thing. He is really going to be struggling as they are falling back quickly currently, especially with Doug Ellingson. With that car, he's trying to push him, but I think Doug's car is really kind of tore up and not as fast as it needs to be. He's trying the best he can, but you see Steve really laying on that bumper, but they are losing a ton of time to the leaders, almost a second and a half slower. So they're going to need a caution if they're going to get back in this thing. They're now 6.5 seconds back. Here comes Steve to the outside. So some big players out of this thing unless we get a caution. Up front, though, it is still Brandon Evans, Bobby Germain, Patrick Dravick, and a big line of cars up at the top. You got, the 17 of Ryan Perkins and James Goshen trying to work that bottom line, just 2 of them, which might help Jake Cam, Robert Hartley get back caught up there. Now just a second and a half back. I mean, if they all get in a line and run, J Cam's not catching them. But I think Ryan Perkins and James Goshen is really helping them because these cars running side by side, they dump air on each other and slow each other down just a little bit, and that's enough to help J Cam here. As we look on board J Cam, he can almost snip the draft here. So great job by them to get back in this thing. Once they get to about 1.1 seconds, that's when they start to feel the draft. But they're 4/10 faster than this lead pack up here. Just how tight they're running. You see Robert Hartley here running really, really close. You don't have to push. That's the thing about these cars that people don't realize. you don't have to really shove somebody. It does help a little bit, but you don't have to. You just get as close as you possibly can and stay there, and you're able to run the max speed. You see Robert give him a shove here. But if you just run really, really close, you're going to make a ton of speed. So these guys doing a fantastic job here. Get back to this thing. Up front, Ryan Perkins still working that bottom line. James Goshen, see him get a little out of shape as looks like some guys back here. The double lock gets out of line. Looks like that skull car of John Ross is up in the mix. He is 8 laps down here. Well, a little break in the action as there's been a lot of contact, but it's all just been kind of, just guys making little small mistakes. And here, small mistakes turn into real big ones at Talladega and Daytona, and now I guess Atlanta. So it doesn't take much, but we're down to just 11 cars in this lead group, as Steve Tucker is now some 7 seconds back. He's actually driven away from Doug Ellingson, as that car just not fast enough. And Steve Tucker back here with Ryan Pendleton, trying to just stay on the lead lap and hope for that caution, which will probably come. I mean, I think it's almost certainty that we're going to see a caution before the end of this race. It's just the way things have been. So if I'm Steve Tucker and I've got Ryan Pendleton pushing me, I got to feel pretty good that we can stay on the lead lap. And once that caution does come out, we'll be able to get caught back up. Got a lap car up here, up in front of this pack, as James Goshen going to drive out front and take over the lead. And that's looks like Cameron Mason going to be out there in that 13 machine. It's been a pretty exciting race, but almost, I mean, I don't know what it is. There's just some nervous energy. I don't know if I had too much caffeine or what's going on, but this whole race, I've just had this, like, nervous energy about how the pack is moving around and how these guys are jumping lanes really quickly. And we've seen a lot of that be sort of the reason for all the cautions. But right now we're having a really good race, and you can see everybody kind of separated just right. So I wonder how much fuel saving is going on here. And to me, that's the question right now. Can they make it? Oh, no, caution's out. Caution is out, and it looks like Robert Hartley sitting backwards on the tri-oval. And I have no idea. We just went into the in-car and completely missed it. Go back and check it here on the replay. On the 46 here, you're going to see the double lock and 46 make contact. A little bit of net code there, but and a little extra there at the end. You know, you just don't understand it sometimes, and as a broadcaster, it's not for me to understand. It's just for me to call. But, yeah, I mean, they're going to kind of, the 46 going to move up, the double lock going to come down, and they're going to make some net code contact. And they save it. The double lock saves it, but the 17 goes to the inside instead of maybe the 17 could have lifted just a little bit here to help these guys get it all sorted. Watch right here is he's just immediately going to go down here. And for some reason, the double lock had it saved. 00. Going to have it saved here and just comes back down and hooks the 46 after making contact with the 17. So and it's hard to say if it's just guys trying to get their cars back, going straight after contact like that, or if it's, irritation, some getting irritated, somebody make contacts, you want to go down and door slam them. It's really hard to say what the guys are thinking when they're doing stuff like that. But, I mean, they can obviously avoid these wrecks. That's what's so tough watching this is that that was definitely avoidable. So I don't know if it's just irritation, anger that's causing these guys to make these moves, and really there's not been a whole lot of give and take here tonight from what I've seen. But still a long way to go in Talladega. I haven't seen guys get out of shape and folks not lifting, and that's kind of what's been the story of the race so far. It's just been a story of no give and take. Guys really just taking everything they can, making contact, and then getting a little upset. Just kind of seems like it's been that type of race. But James Goshen is your leader, and we'll take a look at your go through a little running order here, as they're probably going to come down pit lane, but we'll at least talk about who's running where. James Goshen with the lead at the moment. J Cam has recovered after a couple incidents. He's currently running in second. Bobby Germain. That Ben and Jerry, that's a good-looking car. I like that. Running in the third position. Jacob Ellingson was involved in a really big wreck early on, and has gotten that car fixed, and he is back in the mix. Patrick Dravick has been up front all race long, showing his Superspeedway prowess. Ryan Perkins, who was involved in that wreck there. Brian Provo has been up front all race as well. Brandon Evans has been a big pusher in that 39 machine. He currently runs in the 8th position. George Jewell in 9th. And Steve Tucker, he is so thrilled to have that caution as he was so far back after kind of getting stuck back there losing the draft, and he's so thankful to have this caution. He's now caught back up and get that 24 back up to the front. I mean, just a good-looking paint scheme, man. You got a big wide camera view. You look right at that 24 car. So, I think I'm going to have to go check out Harpoon Designs. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, this is the best kind of advertisement you can do is just do whatever you do right. And, man, that 24 is good looking. So, I don't get paid to say this, and nobody asked me to, but if you want a paint scheme, go to Harpoon Designs, because good Lord, that is a fantastic looking scheme. Man, look at the detail on this. Man, I'm going to forget that we're actually watching a race looking at this darn paint scheme. That's a nice one. So, Steve Tucker that made the right choice. Harpoon Designs, if you need a paint scheme, man, go check them out. That's awesome. Well, it is getting down to crunch time. We're going to be just 2 laps to go. Or 2 laps to go. 20 laps to go, I think, when we go green, or 21. And it is getting down to crunch time. And, a lot of guys didn't come down pit road there, so they must feel like they can make it on fuel. So it looks like we're good on fuel, which means we're going to be probably rolling once we go green here. See, the 85 and the 3, I don't know if they're teammates or not in any motorsports. We'll see if they can get together. But I'm expecting the 27, the 07 to find each other and start to really get Goat Locker out front. Ryan Pendleton was he's another person that was glad to have that caution. He's got probably the second best looking car out there for sure. That 23 machine is fantastic looking. But he's able to get that lap back. He's currently 1 lap down still, so he's going to need another caution to get the lucky dog and not be a part of it. It's the most important thing of that. But we'll see if he's probably going to get another caution, so he's probably in good shape. So, getting ready to go green. 21 laps to go here. The Crusin Classic Next Gen Series. And the action is definitely not over yet. We got a lot to unpack here, I'm sure, in the last 20 laps. Green flag is out. Big jump for the top 3. And Ellingson going to jump down to the bottom as, man, that second Ryan Perkins line just not going. I'm not really sure what's going on. Brandon Evans wants to go to the outside, and I think it does the smart thing there is I think Ryan has been really aggressive. Probably was going to block that run, but it seems like the 17 just not getting going on that start. They continue to fall back, so maybe some damage on that 17. We've already seen him involved. Looks like they are getting it going now, and Patrick Dravick going to jump up to the outside. See, ooh, a little bit of nervous energy there. I don't know. Oh, and it looks like Brandon Evans going to go to the inside. He's said, you know what? I don't like how much you're moving. It's making me nervous. And might be, I think there's just some damage to that 17 cars. He's got a parachute coming out of that thing. I think the contact that he made just a few laps ago is causing him to have some issues. So he's falling back. Right now, James Goshen got a big lead. But here comes Steve Tucker in that 24 machine, jumps up into the top line at the very last second. You know, nobody wants to go up to the top side until it gets going. I mean, just a bunch of freeloaders, in my opinion. They didn't do any of the work to get the to get the line going. But as soon as it starts moving, boy, they want to jump up there. That's how it is in real life too. They see that line moving, and they, oh yeah, I'll go. But the 42, Bobby Germain, gonna push him. Patrick Dravick also right up in that top line. That top line is moving. Oh, here comes Bobby Germain out of the groove. And I don't know if he thought maybe Patrick Dravick going to go with him, but Germain going to go backwards here all the way to the back of this little pack. Now Dravick. Oh, it's a 99. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. They make contact. Is something, I don't know what John Ross out of shape or something. I'm not sure what's going on, but really checked everything up there. And man, Patrick Dravick, Brandon Evans all the way back here after that. That is, I don't know what was going on there. Take a look at it here on the picture-in-picture as we watch them try to get this thing back rolling. But we'll watch as Patrick Dravick and the 24 is going to go down to the bottom when John Ross goes up to lead that lane. And there's just a big run by the 07 who's going to go outside. And, man, 99 just goes up and tank slaps the 07 and just kills the run that he had. So I don't know. You know, John Ross has been a very, very competitive driver all season long. So that's a little wild to me to see. I don't know if maybe that car is just not handling well. That's not normal for him. But yeah, he just comes right up as Patrick Dravick went to the outside. But now they're getting back rolling, but they are quickly losing touch with this lead pack as we were watching right there. I mean, they're some 3 seconds back. So just a falling apart of this little group here. And now Brandon Evans and Patrick Dravick are way back here in 8th and 9th, and they're losing touch with the lead. You know, after that contact, you know, we'll go back and look right here. After that contact, this is right after the contact happened. I'm going to speed it up. Watch that lead pack just continue to pull away as, you know, John Ross, I don't know if his car just not up to speed or what's going on, but they were trying to push him for a while, and then look how big that gap is. And they are currently 3.5 seconds back, so I don't know exactly what was happening there. But, yeah, I mean, this is bad news for these drivers. They are well behind, and it's going to take a lot to get them back rolling. They are running about the same times as the lead pack. So right now, the lead pack running single file. That's the best thing that can happen for them. But Brandon Evans, Patrick Dravick, Bobby Germain, Brian Provo, those guys are going to really need these guys to get side by side and start racing soon. But if I'm up front in this front line, front group, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna run. I'm telling everybody, run single file, run single file. Now the boss man Patrick Dravick can call into that 27 machine maybe and say, hey, get up there and race them, slow them down a little bit, let us catch back up, and maybe he'll do that. So you can always count on Jake Ellingson to keep it exciting. So that may be what happened. The boss Patrick Dravick might call in a little favor here. But you can look at Jake Ellingson sitting right behind the 85 of James Goshen as he pushed the nice little gap between those two to Jake Ham. But that's just continuing to allow this group to pull away. It is now 4.2 seconds back to that second group. With just 15 laps to go, it's only getting worse. This front pack is really scooting 2/10 faster that last lap than that second group. So you got to be aggravated as all get out. I mean, if you're a Patrick driver, Brandon Evans, that was just a horrible couple laps. And I know they're trying their guts out to get back up there. Brandon Evans, I mean, just laying it to the back bumper of Patrick Travis. We talked about it, you know, hey, let off, leave a little gap, and then push on the straightaways or something. You can see right now Brandon Evans laying caution to the wind as he is all over the back bumper of that 07. And Patrick's probably like, hey, come on, give it to me. I'm ready to go. And they have made up a little bit of time there. We'll see if that lasts. They actually having a really good lap this time, under 4 seconds. They really got to work together. They got to be on the horn saying, hey, guys, everybody in this line, you got to get up there and push. You see Ryan Perkins out there by himself. All that does is hurt the group. So if you're getting out of line, you're only making it worse for yourself, as they need to be a lot tighter than they are. And right now you can see they're all kind of spread apart. They did run a really fast lap last time. So if they can get 3 or 4 of those cars nose to tail, they'll be okay, I think, as this group. And you can still see guys in that group. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if those guys that are moving towards the back. You see Cameron Mason there falling off the end. So I don't know if maybe they were telling them to get out of the line because their cars aren't fast enough, or they may just be have a little bit too much damage. It's hard to say, but last couple laps they have made up some time. They kind of stalled out this lap, only 3.4 seconds. If they keep this up, though, they're going to catch them. And don't forget, they only have to get to about 1 second back from that pack, and they'll catch up. So they need to get all they can get here to get caught up to the main pack. So right now, 2.9 seconds is the interval between Patrick Drabick and John Anthony in 7th. And you see both distinct packs right there. Now, if you're in this second group, you got to be telling them, hey, guys, look, I know we're losing the pack. You see Ryan Perkins completely lose the draft, so he definitely had some damage that was hurting that car. But you got to be telling these guys, just push, stay as close as you can, stay in line. They're going to get up there and start racing before too long, especially with 4 or 5 laps to go. Once those guys start racing and they continue to push forward like they are now, you know, right at 3 seconds, once they get racing up front, they'll catch them really quickly. So if they stay in line and not lose any ground and try to gain a little bit, whenever they start racing up front, these guys will be there in a heartbeat. So that's what you're trying to tell these guys. You type in, you're doing /42, you're doing /99, /08, saying, hey, just give us some time. Run single file. We all want to win. We want to get this dub. And we're not going to have a chance if we get back here racing for 8th place. And so far, everybody doing a fantastic job. Now 2.7 seconds back. They're doing really great work here. The last lap, they kind of lost a little bit. This lap, they are gaining it all back. So it's going to be close. I think they can get there if they continue to be like right there where Jermaine actually comes out of line. And see how backed up the 99 is. That just hurts that line even more. But that time by 0.5 of a second faster, half a second, they were able to make up. So this is going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting to see if they can get caught up before the end of this thing. Up front, it is still single file. James Goshen, Jacob Ellingson, Jake Ham running single file. They know the deal. They know that, hey, look, we only have 7 drivers in this. That's a 1 in 7 chance I have to win the race. If we allow this other group to catch up, it'll be a 1 in 12 chance for me to win the race. So that's definitely on these guys' mind. So they want to stay tucked up as well. They don't want to let this group catch each other up. Now, if you can wait till the last lap, they may not be able to do it. So we'll see. It's going to be close. So far, Patrick Drabick, Brandon Evans doing a fantastic job. The last couple laps have been really solid. If they can keep that up, they're going to catch them, and it don't matter what these guys do. So, but we have seen them have a couple bad laps and actually drop 3-4 tenths. So they got to keep doing what they're doing. If they can do that, they'll catch up. That's one thing I love about Talladega Daytona is you have to work with people that you're not your teammates. Sometimes you don't get the option of working with your teammates. I mean, Jake Ellingson would love to work with Patrick Drabbit, but he's about 3 seconds back. So you got to work with each other and work with guys that you may not normally work with. You look at the guy that's in front of you, go, oh, I don't know about him. Oh, it's James Goshen blinks out. That's a scary place to be blinking out right out front. Keep an eyeball on that left side of the screen, that ticker. Right now, 3 seconds back from the lead. Patrick Drabbik is 2.4 seconds. That time by, man, Jacob Ellingson, Jake Cam, this whole front group got a massive push and running some of the fastest laps of the race currently at this moment. And Patrick Drabbik and Brandon Evans only able to match their times. So, not enough. It's going to need more. They're going to need these guys to get to racing a lot sooner. Patrick Drabbik on the left side of your screen if you want to watch along, and I don't have to keep saying it. We've got, when you see that get to about 1.8 seconds there, Patrick Drabbik, that in that 8th position, that 07 car, you see it down to 1.8, they've got the draft. So if they can get down to 1.8 before the end of this thing, they'll get the draft and they'll be able to catch this pack. But they have some work to do if they're going to get it done. This front pack is doing exactly what they need to, stay in single file and not letting them catch up. But as soon as somebody pulls out, Patrick Drabbik will be there. So it's just a waiting game. Last lap, about the same lap time they did. Really didn't gain anything the last couple laps. Still 3 seconds back from the lead. They still need to gain another second and 1.2 seconds really. Right at 1.8 seconds is where it's really going to matter. So we'll see if they're able to get it done. It's crazy. We got 2 single file packs, and it's almost as exciting as the racing has been all race long. So you can see guys looking, thinking about it. We've only got 6 laps to go, coming down to 5 to go. Who is going to pull out? Who's going to make the move and try to get up there and win this race? When are they going to do it? When's the time to do it? I think if you do it before the white flag, I think that second group's going to catch them almost immediately. I think you got to wait till the white flag. I think you've done such a great job, this group up here, of keeping those other ones at bay, that you'll just throw it all away if you jump out now. So if you're Jake Ham, Jacob Ellingson, you're staying in line, and George Jewell, Robert Hartley, Steve Tucker, you got to know that that's coming. About a second away from grabbing the draft, and we go on board with Patrick Drabbik. He can see them out there. You can see how close. Oh, just a little bit closer and we get the draft. Just needs a little bit of help. Just not quite able to get there just yet. You can see they are definitely closing in. That lead is down to 2.7 seconds. Like I said, 1.8. When you see Patrick Drabbik have 1.8 there, that is when they'll start to grab that draft. Just 4 laps to go here at Talladega. Who is going to win this race? Is it going to be James Goshen, who has already won at a plate track in, I think, the Truck Series this season? Definitely a good plate racer. Has positioned himself out front, but he's sort of a sitting duck at the moment. Being the leader with 1 lap to go is usually a loser. Oh, my goodness. They're wrecking. Brandon Evans spinning. And caution is out. Unreal. I don't know what happened. We're going to go back and try to figure it out, but Brandon Evans slow on the track, and that brings out the caution. Here we go. Let's take a look at the replay. On board with Brandon Evans. And some contact there, and it looks like a little bit of checkup between Patrick. They just all over each other. And I don't think the 42 was trying to pass there. I think he just go on board with him. I don't think he was trying to pass him. I think that checkup just took him off guard, and he was trying to miss the back end there. Let's see. I don't know. It's hard to say. You can see the bump come right here. That's going to check him up. Honestly, it looks like he was trying to make a pass. I mean, there's one way to find out. We'll go inside of that car and see. We'll watch the steering wheel and see if there was a left-hand turn to try to make a move here, which it just would be crazy to think of. No, it doesn't look like it. It looks like it was just that bump from Brandon Evans and just got him out of maybe, I don't know. It's the oddest thing I've ever seen. I'm looking at it, trying to break it down, and I mean, you just kind of, you're going to see the contact here as Brandon Evans going to give Patrick a shot. And, it's hard to say. I can't decide if Jermaine was trying to make the move or he just wasn't expecting the 39 and 07 to go up half a lane, and it was just too late. He makes contact there, so. Damage on that 39 machine. He still does have the faster pair. He should use it here. But man, what a way to finish this race off. They were trying to get there. I mean, that's one way of doing it. Just make contact, spin each other out, and get caught back up. And I know it wasn't intentional, but I was just saying that's a good way of getting caught up because it was going to be tough for them to make it. So a green-white checkered, most likely here. I would imagine before we go back green. We do have a couple of those. So everybody going to get caught up. Ryan Pendleton going to be able to get back on the lead lap in this 23 machine. Waited, stayed patient all race long, able to get back on the lead lap now. Now he has a chance of going out there and getting a win in that 23 machine. So Ryan Pendleton back in this thing with probably a green-white checkered lumen. I've got Brantley Road and say 2 laps to go. Not quite. Should get, I would imagine we're going to get a green light checker. I think it's going to happen. Still got at least a couple laps. So it should swap over to a green light checker, and I'll let you know when they cross the line. It should let us know right here. Well, man, oh, man. Well, that's going to change the race up entirely. We're definitely waiting on that white flag to see what that front group was going to do. Oh, I see Brantley. Yeah, you're right. I think 2 to go probably would have been 2 to go or the white flag for sure. I think 2 to go, I'd be worried that second group would catch them. But, yeah, no, I agree. 2 to go, 1 to go would have been the right time to make that move and get up there and position yourself for sure. It looks like your name says Harpoon Design. So if you're the guy that painted the 24 car, man, big props. As man, look at that thing. I can't look away. Well, alrighty. Well, man, we are coming down to the end of this thing. 70 laps. We're just almost an hour and a half here in this race, and it's all down to this. Green-white checkered attempt 1 of 2. So, if you're unfamiliar, which most of you are, but I'll explain it either way, we will take the green flag. We'll come around. If no caution, we'll get the white flag, and the next flag will end the race. Here in iRacing, if you get the white flag, you'll race around to the checker flag. There won't be any yellow flag that comes out. So, we'll be racing to the end if we get a white flag. Now, if caution does come out before the white flag is waved and the leader takes that flag, then we will rack them back up and we'll go again. So 2 attempts at this. And this really blows everything wide open. You know, those in the back. I mean, honestly, Brandon Evans may have not had a shot, and that kind of changed how this is going to play out, but it's about to get wild. You're not going to see any lifting. You're not going to see anybody, especially if you're towards the back. You got to get to the front. It's now or never. But James Goshen, Jacob Ellingson going to lead the field down. Teammates getting locked up here, bumper to bumper. You see the 3 pushing the 85 into the Geico restart zone. He's going to pull away. We'll see if he drags the brake to get kind of linked up here as Steve Tucker is now pushing George Jewell there on the outside. These runs are going to come, especially going into turn 3. You're going to see a massive gaggle of cars. The 24 is going to get to the 3. That's going to push him up to the 85. Are they going to make a move here on the backstretch? Who's going to make the move? They are tight right here. It is super, super tight down the back straightaway. Who's going to move out of line? Look at the bumps. Jake Ham all over the place. Steve Tucker laying on the back bumper. Here comes the runs from the top side. Brandon Evans pushing the 42 of Jermaine. They've got to go up to the outside. They don't have a choice. Here they come. Brandon Evans been the best pusher all night long. Can he get him to the front? The 43 might pull up and try to block. Are we going to get to the white flag? Come through the tri-oval. Here we go. White flag is out here. One more lap to settle this thing. As, man, we have got a bell. Patrick Drabick going to go wrecking. Oh, big contact. That's going to, oh, they're wrecking up front. Everybody making contact. They keep going. We got to race to the finish. There's no yellow flag. Here comes Brandon Evans through the middle of 3 wide. Down the back straightaway, James Goshen trying to block multiple lanes. There's multiple wrecks going on right now, but here we are. Camera right up front. It's still Jake Cam and James Goshen. Brandon Evans tries to go to the top side, but here comes Brian Provo up through the middle. Goshen going to block that run, doing a fantastic job. Here they come, down through the trial. Jake Cam now blocking both lanes. Who has got the run? Steve Tucker is there. He's on the inside. We got a 3-way battle for the lead. James Goshen with a big run to the start-finish line. They make contact across the start-finish line, and who won it? I have no clue. The camera didn't change like it was supposed to, and we had a terrible camera there for the end. Holy moly. Let's go back and look at that. Down at the start-finish line, who won it? They're wrecking. And it is Leroy Kablitz. In that 43 machine is going to cross the line as those 3 wreck at the start-finish line. And look at that. Man, what a race. A big push there Leroy got. We'll go on board with him. And watch how everything just opens up for him here. Coming through the AB. He's sitting here in 3rd or 4th place as they go 3 wide. They make contact. He just keeps it to the floor. Goes down and takes the win. Holy moly. And that was a lot of stuff going on at the end of the race. Look at that, 3 wide for the win. And they come across the start-finish line, and Leroy Kablitz going to save. He's the only one that didn't make contact there, as everybody's going all over the place. And Ryan Pendleton, after being 2 laps down for the majority of the race, he's going to come home in 6th. Able to avoid that completely. Oh, and Ryan actually made a little bit of contact there towards the end as well. But, man, what a crazy last lap. Let's actually go on board here and check out this white flag and see a little bit of contact here. What happened? We'll try to break down all the incidents to know exactly what went wrong. Try to get a dang camera that I can see what's going on. Yeah, you see the eventual winner actually turns Patrick Drabick. We'll go on board with him. So Leroy Kablitz was pushing that 07 right here, coming to the white flag. This is your winner right here. He's trying to stick it 3 wide, and he's just not there. And Patrick comes down across his nose, and they wreck behind him. And then more wrecking goes on as the 42 gets in the wall, along with I think it was Ryan Perkins. And Jacob Ellingson was one of those that was in the wall. You see him at the very back there, top of your screen. And then they start fanning out. Ryan Pendleton, big run there. And God, I mean, nobody's lifting at this point. I mean, Brandon Evans honestly did a great job there to not wreck anybody. And then he's going to get turned here at the end of this thing. Wow, what a finish. Wild, wild finish. Watch as here they come down to the start-finish line. A little bit of contact, the 43, as they're wrecking across the line. And Leroy Koblenz takes the lead, the win there. So, wow. Could break that down 1,000 different ways. A lot of moving parts there at Talladega. And but Leroy takes the win. Wow. My goodness, my goodness. We'll wait for everybody. Wait for everybody to get into the room so we can talk to them and see what they thought about the race. While we wait on that, we'll go through the results here and see where everybody finished up. Take a look here at the results. This should be official at this point. Koblenz takes home the win. James Goshen so close. Look how close that finish was. I mean, first through fourth was less than a tenth. That's about what you expect out of Talladega. Steve Tucker comes home in the third position. Jake Cam in fourth. Brandon Evans recovers there to get a top 5 finish. Ryan Pendleton, we've already talked about his recovery. Just an amazing finish. Brian Provo in 7th position. Bobby Germain in 8th. Robert Hartley in 9th. John Anthony rounds out your top 10. In 11th is Ryan Perkins. 12th is Patrick Dravitt. 13th is Jacob Ellingson. Doug Ellingson in 14th. George Jewell in 15th. John Ross in 16th. Cameron Mason and Tanner Bethea 17th and 18th. All right, well, we should have everybody in the booth, so let's go ahead and talk to some of these drivers, and we're going to start with third place, Steve Tucker, who was battling 3 wide for the win, and that's some contact at the start-finish line, which to be expected, but still comes home in the third position. Steve, is Eddie in the booth? You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How we doing?
Man, we're doing good. That was that was a lot of fun, I think. I mean, it was a kind of a weird, honestly, I can't tell if I just had too much caffeine or if that was just the weirdest Talladega race I've seen in a long time. Man, everybody was kind of separated. There was a lot of maybe some inexperience out there trying to move around. The first part of the race was just kind of odd and weird. And then there, about midway through the race, you kind of got lost from the pack and had to get saved by a yellow flag. But there at the end, you had a shot at it and come up a little bit short, man. Tell me about your race. I mean, there's a lot going on in that thing.
Yeah, man. It's pretty, I mean, just typical Talladega, right? I mean, just craziness, long green flag runs and strung out single car packs, or, it's just typical super speedway drafting package, right? I mean, we avoided a wreck, I believe, with 2 cars. I went down low and avoided that. That didn't bring out a caution, oddly enough. But I mean, later on, I got tangled in with a yellow car. I have no idea it happened so quick, and that kept me from the pack. And yeah, the yellow came out, saved us, got back to the front, and at the end there, tried to be the Pied Piper and telling the front pack to keep it going strong and push so that we could stay away from that secondary pack. But yellow came out there, and I mean, green, white, checkered. We just, tried to do our best. Koblenz at the end there had a huge amount of steam. I thought I had that maybe, but he just came down, crossed the yellow line. Little curious about that. Not sure how that's going to be ruled out, but he spooked me coming down to my left, so I turned right just a hair. I knew I was 3 wide, but I didn't think that 3 car was that close to me. So my apologies for that. But hey, either way, a top 3 at a super speedway can't be upset about that. So not a bad day.
Yeah, I mean, at last lap, you really can't ever predict how it's going to turn out. I mean, I've seen some of the wildest finishes. Everybody's going to just keep the throttle down and nobody's lifting for anybody. And coming down through there, I mean, yeah, you had such a great run, and Leroy just kind of, because y'all got side by side, it kind of just all your parachutes just went out, and he had such a big run, and it was 4 wide there at the finish. But I mean, pretty awesome race. I mean, talk a little bit about the racing up there. You were up, moving up to the top, down to the bottom, trying to move around. Where did you feel like you wanted to be? Did you ever find a comfortable spot out there early on?
It's tough. I mean, I like to be kind of a bottom dweller and just ride the yellow line. I mean, I can run the outside lane if I want to, and if that lane is working, which I was for the most part earlier in the race. And it's just hard to really know, who to work with. A lot of these guys seemed kind of uncomfortable in the draft or pushing, so it's hard to know who your friends are and who aren't. I mean, a lot of good guys out here, so it's just tough at these places to really know. And 70 laps here is pretty short, so you have to figure it out in a pretty short time frame, right? So it's a lot to kind of digest, but yeah, I mean, overall, it's just these super speedways, man. It's just it's just a certain knack to it that it's sometimes you can't teach it. It's just one of those things. It's a lot of intuition, right? Like which lane to go with, making the right move at the right time, and it's just sometimes it plays into your favor and sometimes it doesn't.
Well, didn't get the win, but you were super close and battling there at the start-finish line. Come home in third. Congratulations on that third place finish. Who you got to thank here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, just the best-looking car on the track every week. HarpoonDesign.com just gives me some awesome paint schemes every single week. Today, and actually next week in Richmond, rocking some pretty cool Halloween-themed paint scheme, orange and red and whatnot. So looking pretty good. HarpoonDesign.com. Go and check them out. And yeah, you will not be disappointed.
Well, I agree. I'm going to be honest. I love the paint scheme and was definitely shouting him out multiple times. Just an awesome scheme. So, but awesome scheme, awesome finish. Congratulations, Steve.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. Third place. Let's talk to our second place finisher, James Goshen, leading there. That front pack for that last few laps. Then the caution comes out, and you got to fight for your life, James. And you, there at the end, had a shot at it. I mean, just right. I mean, you were darn near even with Leroy at the line, and come home in second. Congratulations on that second place. But talk about your race, man. How'd it go here tonight?
Like any other typical plate race, man, you just try to stay out of trouble, keep your nose clean. That's pretty much the whole thing we did, was just try to keep our nose clean, stay out of trouble, and be there at the end. But yeah, that last caution, did not want it, did not need it, but it is what it is. That's plate racing.
Well, I mean, y'all had a nice little 7-car breakaway, and y'all were able to really, I was impressed. They caught up a little bit, but y'all were able to get in order. So I'm sure y'all were yammering back and forth to the guys in that front pack to, hey, tighten up, get closer. And then it's after a few laps, y'all really started to manage that gap. But I mean, you being out front, you're in the worst spot in that position. What was your plan, if that caution didn't come out and you got down to, the last lap? How are you going to defend that onslaught from maybe Jacob Ellingson or a couple folks back in that little group? Because being, kind of being out front, you're kind of a sitting duck.
Yeah, you really are a sitting duck now. I mean, all I could have done there was just block, mirror drive, and I ended up doing that right there on the last lap coming to the checker. That's all I could do, was just mirror drive, try to stay in front of the car that had the momentum to keep me moving forward, keep everything moving forward. But I mean, like I said, plate racing, gotta love it.
Well, come home with a second place finish. That's pretty dang good. I mean, you sneeze maybe there at the start finish line and you won the thing. So congratulations on that second place. Who you got to thank here tonight?
I mean, I got to thank the guys over at Indy. I mean, they've been trying to work with me, help with me getting better, get faster. And again, I got to thank Performance Trucking LLC, the company I work for, work in. I'm the lone trucker, and got to thank them for being on the hood and giving me the opportunity to be out here.
All right. Well, there you have it. Second place finisher, James Goshen. And, man, I tell you what, we got the man of the hour, the guy that snuck in there and grabbed that win. That's Leroy Koblenz. Leroy, this Eddie in the booth got a copy?
Hey, Eddie. Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, in that Air Force 43, you had an up and down race, but you seemed like that thing was fast and you had the speed that you need in there. Towards the end, when you got that last caution, what was your thoughts going into that restart on that green-white checker?
Actually, at that point, my thought was to just try to hang on to a top 10. I did have speed most of the night, especially on that high side, was working for me pretty good. But first of all, I want to apologize to Tanner in the one car. I believe I dumped him. I had a pretty good run on him, went low, and kind of misjudged it a little bit. So I want to apologize for that. But yeah, I had pretty good speed tonight, and it just happened to be at the right place at the right time there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, you come down on the last lap, and I mean, you were sitting, on the back half of the top 10, and then they started just wrecking around you, and then you had they were up front pushing, and when they spread out 3 wide, the parachute came out, and you just had a massive run down through the tri-oval, and it just kind of opened up for you. I mean, when you come off turn 4, did you think you had a shot? Did you feel like it, or were you not even thinking about it?
Not really. I didn't think I had a shot until I saw the start-finish line in front of me, to tell you the truth.
Well,
So,
you got it done. So congratulations on that win.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, .010 was the interval back to second place. So the smallest margin of victory I've seen in a long, long time. So congratulations to you.
Yeah,
Awesome
well,
race.
thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank
great
you.
win. And who you got to thank? Any sponsor shout outs?
Yeah, well, I want to first of all thank Goat Locker Racing for what they are doing, and you in the booth doing a great job. I want to thank John Ross, my teammate, Wild Man Racing and Graybeard Racing. He's been a big help to me, this season. So shout out to him, and shout out to my brother Roman that hangs out in the chat with us and gives us tips and pointers every now and then. So yeah, and I got my son-in-law's name on the car, Patrick Gachera. He's major in the Air Force, so shout out to him. Thank him for his service and all the servicemen, that are out there doing their thing for us.
Well, there you have it. Leroy Kablitz, your winner here in the Cruising Classics Next Gen Series here at Talladega. Just a great, great finish, which was like just a wild race in general. And but Talladega always delivers on exciting finishes. You kind of get that rubber band pulled all the way back, and you let that bad boy go, and it's just wild for half a second for sure. But Leroy takes the win, led 2 laps, and led the most important one. So congratulations to him. Want to thank all the sponsors again. We want to thank Veterans for Life, Jam Printing and Promotions, and of course, we can't have a Cruising Classics Next Gen Series and not thank Cruising Classics, man. Great partners for Goat Locker and all. And it's always thanks to Pat and Jamie for what they do, putting this series on. And if you don't know, this whole series, they want to come in here and have a good time racing, but man, it's about veterans, first responders. That's where their heart is, and man, that's why I love Goat Locker for that reason. It's a place, if you're a veteran, you're first responder, you can come race, have a good time, and they do a lot of work for those folks, and it's just an awesome place. So want to thank them for putting this thing on, putting all the work into it. They do a great job. All the graphics that you see, like the schedule and the podium graphics, are all done by Patrick Grapping. He does a great job. I mean, that's such a nice thing for a broadcaster to have something clean and nice to put up on the screen. I don't have to do any of that stuff, and he does a great job. So they put a lot of work into this, so definitely want to thank them. But anyway, that is it for us tonight. Y'all have a fantastic evening. We'll be back next week, and we'll be, I don't know where we're going to be. Let's take a look at the schedule. Get the Goat Locker thing off of here. Richmond going to be next week, man. That is going to be a lot of fun here in these next gen cars. Should be a great race. So come out and see that 150 laps and just 3 races to go for the playoffs. So, all right. Well, tomorrow night the Truck Series will be back on NASRA, and they'll be racing. Where are they going to be racing? I'll try to find that for you. It's not the best dismount that I've ever done, but I at least want to find where these guys are racing so you can tell. Oh, Nashville. That'll be a good one. So come out and watch that on NASRA. We'll be broadcasting that race. That'll be a good one. Y'all have a good night. We'll see y'all next week.